July 7th, 1983. This is Joe Todd, an interview with Nezzie Leathers.
I'm just chairman of it. So one girl said, well, give it to me and I'll make time.
What year was that?
That was when Evelyn Walkini was there. Well, I left Riverside in '63. And I'm pretty sure I was so busy in '59, I had a senior class I was conscious of doing. I took over the library, I taught the class. It's all in there. That I think it must have been that year. I know it was a few years before I left. And that was the last class I sponsored.
What year did you leave Riverside?
63.
63. Is it still operating? The school?
Oh, yes. And I've been down there.
Yeah, that's good.
And they've invited me back a few times.
Yeah.
Well, anytime I can go, I just
Oh,
go. But I don't go very much. Now, then, the students are I don't know the students now.
Yeah.
I know some of the best principal I ever had in my life. I wouldn't put that down, but it's all under no circumstance. But what I say sometimes slipping my tongue, I wouldn't want on anything.
Yeah.
But Mr. Piles was dear.
Mr. Piles?
Yeah, Albert Piles. He's dead now. I heard from his wife. And here's his picture.
You say he was the best principal you had? How come he was the best?
Well, for this reason. He was firm. And I learned that the first school I ever taught in 1990 from a superintendent. He was firm.
Yeah.
He was kind. But he was also quiet. Now, I'm not criticizing any others. I know people who left service because of the frustration. And they were good people. I said, I'm going to keep my time. But those same people, well, there's one from Alabama, he comes through here, now don't forget Nezzie. We went out to dinner and all that, just had a good time. But Mr. Piles, can you see in his face just something that...
Yeah. When is this picture taken? What year?
Oh, I can see the kids, I guess. And you know, I didn't write on some of these. Bobby's in here. It's here. And here I am. Oh. Well, I sponsored the class, I know that. I sponsored the class in '59, '56. And that's just miscellaneous pictures all over.
Yeah.
Here's when I started teaching in school. You wouldn't be a bit innocent, that's except it's 26.
Is this at
That's
this
a
at
good
Riverside?
start. Here's another one of Mr. Piles, a better one. And he was principal when I left there in '63.
Yeah.
So this must have been either probably '56 or '59. But I have another picture here. I think it'll tell me that. There's Mr. Piles here.
Is this you
Yeah.
in the long white dress?
No, it isn't long. Oh, it's long. Well, let's see. Whatever the style was in, I tried to wear it. Oh, it's long, yeah. Yeah. And this is Taft Haney.
That's who?
Taft Haney, H-A-I-N-T-A, and he is one of the leaders of the tribe of the Cowboys now.
Taft Haney.
Taft, T-A-F-T, was his
Yeah.
first name. H-A-I-N-T-A.
H-A-I-N-T-A.
Yeah, I remember that now. And here's Lewis Timothy.
Lewis Timothy. No.
And
Who's
here's
he?
Julius. Now let me see. Julius Colbert. Julius
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Where's he now?
Oh, well, I don't know. Here's Charlie Sewell. And there's Riley Lamar. Now, isn't that kind of strange, too, or is it? That I can remember these like this better
Yeah.
than 10 reasons. But I had so many so much. And I think another thing. Let me see. I could find that. I can find that out. I can call Miss Jones. I know another teacher here in the city. But I can call her and she can tell me anything that I want to know that.
Now, is this the bandstand? What is this?
Yeah, it's been.
Is it still there?
No, it's been gone for years.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like the same place at all.
It doesn't.
Oh, if you don't, I'll go down, huh? I don't know if you can see it. Well, I got a few pictures of it.
Hmm.
You go into campus, and here's the principal's house. Another, just as you enter, another building at the counselor, so you're in. Then it's just in a circle around 7 cottages. I'm up here in Cottage A. They called it then, they renamed it the Wichita Cottage. And now then, I guess you know the latest about Riverside. Concho's closed. I have an article, I think I have it in here, that they've had a secondary school only the last several years. And now then they're making it all grades.
What, Concho?
No, Riverside.
Riverside, okay.
And right, you don't have to do things last. And I just stayed on one day and wrote that. And my voice is insecure. I've gotten plus in industry sometimes, minds and boys. One time my principal told me, I won't talk too much, I'll talk. He told me that he called us over years ago, I never did forget it. And he told me to make a talk on something, I don't know, like 4-H or something. And I mean, I didn't want it, I didn't want it. But I wasn't very good. You know, you do it in the service. I thought, well, there's a lot of adults, you know, I'll just forget them. I'll talk to kids. I got there seated. I just really just put it out of my mind. And I started out with something, and then I asked them questions, they raised their hand, they'd respond to me. And that wasn't funny, but what was funny, he waited a few days, and he said, I want you to give the same talk you gave the other day. I said, no, Mr. Evans, please. I said, I don't even know what I said. I think till you say my own. I couldn't give the same thing. But when I forgot the growing up, now I wasn't scared or shy, especially. I've gone to 80 schools since I've been here in Oklahoma City, and I like good children, and they keep calling me while I don't know all of it. And I try to cover it. Too much territory.
Yeah.
Like that, just slow down on some of it. I said, when I meet this man and help him, I wanted to get this. And then if I have anything you don't take, you're welcome to come back and everything else. I said, now I'll do this, and then I'm going to stop. Paperwork. I'm going to stop a little paperwork there. Here's this latest, I think. I can't remember all of it. After all, you'll take it that I'm not going to excuse myself for age, but I'm not old. I have to laugh sometimes. I think since you was up here, I'm just 83.
83.
And I've taught over 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped teaching to go to school, as you can see in that article, got my degree, and Then I went ahead and got home and introduced myself to him. I just stopped on and go to school. That's about some years. That's just where he was the speaker down there. And here, you know they were trying to get the Anadarko area office moved up here to Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
That's common knowledge.
What's your feeling on that?
Mine is it doesn't belong anywhere but among those cows and cattle and plantations right there where they are, and they're making objection to it. And I think they have a right to. It'll be up here. It's not around the Indian environment at all.
Yeah.
There might be one or two in there. And I see, I know that you have identification. I know it from talking to you. I was a little bit now, yesterday when you talked to me, tell me your name. There's so many calls, and they want to sell something, they want to do this, and they even get in it. What do you have in the house, and they find out before they leave, and Lord help us. I'm not scared, but I just have to go.
That's understandable.
Oh, well, I know this. I know that Riverside is going to take the students from Conto. And they're not going to take the first grade, they're going to take they just won't have grade school out of it from us to take the second up. I don't have time to read all this, maybe you don't have time either. Here in the city, his name is, funny name, Tonkei or something like that.
Sammy White?
It's they call him Sammy White, but his name is in the article. It's Ton something, Kei. He's Sammy. I know. Sammy. We always call him Sammy White, and he went to school with me, and I called him the other day to know when the Indian Expedition on. And it's August 8th. And I said, well, I think I have some Indian friends rather not and Roswell. He said, you better believe it. But he's real nice to me. Give me any information I want. And I thought by chance you might want to contact him on something. But he's down there. He is going to be in charge of, he's going to be chairman of the Indian Expedition.
That's at Anadarko?
That's at Anadarko, and it's August 8th. Well, now, I've rambled enough, I think.
Well, I just...
As a child that came over from Omaha, I can tell you that. When I came in 1907, I came in a covered wagon. And then here's where I went to schools and everything, and so forth. And then here, and I can answer it. I can answer the question if you were, and then if you're not satisfied with that, you want to make another one or something.
Yeah.
See if I answer you like I said.
Well, Miss Leathers, where were you born?
All right.
I'm sorry?
Kirbyville, Missouri.
Kirbyville, Missouri?
Tenney County.
When's your birthday?
June 20th, 1900.
You just had a birthday then?
Yeah, I've had my 83rd one.
Yeah.
And it's just easy to remember because it's the year. Whatever year it is, I'm that old.
Who was your father?
Joseph Arlett.
This is your family genealogy.
Now, she's a real compiler. She works there all the time. I don't.
Who is this?
That's my father and mother.
Oh, those are your parents.
Mm-hmm. particular person on purpose because we go either way then in generations. There's when he was born, October 8th, 1872, and he died. Fourth time, can you count?
And your mother was Ruth Ellen Pickett.
Yeah.
Where was she from?
I'm sorry, I got a record of that. I got the Pickett record all the way there.
Yeah. What kind of work did your father do?
He was a farmer. And I got his obituary tells us. And he was pilot on the river from Branson, Missouri to Batesville, Arkansas. Yeah, Bessie and Wilson helped him along. He was log rafts down White River.
Log rafts.
Yeah, rafts. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, floating logs. It was a log raft.
Now,
Tied together some way.
Yeah.
And down the river.
From Branson, Missouri to
Batesville, Arkansas.
Batesville, Arkansas.
It was 50 miles. And he and one other man was pilots. Cedar logs, yeah, he's got it.
Yeah.
For the Eagle Pencil Company.
Now, how'd they float the logs down?
Well, Lewis, do you know more about that? He was born in. You know how they float the logs down?
Take long boards, I guess, and they tied them to the folding logs together. They rode on top of 4 or 5 men. I remember when I was born and raised down in Alabama. I remember when I was in the first or second reader in the geography showing men flat floating logs down the White River. When I was 6, 7 years old.
How many logs would there be together in a raft?
Well, I don't know. Maybe a whole herd of them.
Yeah.
Probably.
What's
20,
that?
30, 40, maybe 50.
20 or 30.
And he did
Maybe
this
a
for
hundred. I don't know how many they had.
and they did this for a pencil company?
Eagle Pencil Company.
Eagle Pencil Company.
Yeah, I know that.
Is that in Batesville?
No, I don't think the pencil company was there.
That's where they shipped them from, I guess.
That's where they shipped them from, I think.
Okay. Well, they went by rail from Batesville.
Probably, we don't know that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I knew that. But I know.
Never did a job just to get them down there. He never saved them that long.
What did
Went
his,
from there.
that's his job.
How long would it take to go from Branson down to Batesville?
I think he said about 3 days.
I think so. I know this. He walked home.
He walked home.
He walked home, and I was a big enough child to see it. His
60 miles, I think I heard.
50. I thought it was 50.
Whether it's 50 or 60.
I thought it was 50. And he walked it in 2 days. Usually, and sometimes it took him into the 3rd day. And I know he walked home.
I guess, I think, what he said, they had long sticks and a pole, you know, they had to have a man on each side to kind of guide them.
Yeah, that's what they did. I think he called them oars, but I don't know for sure.
I've heard him talk about going over that Bull Shoals. You know, there's a lake there now, Bull Shoals Lake. I've heard him tell about it. I think one time the logs tore up.
Yep.
One across that shoulder, Bull Shoals. That's one of the first years when the lake was built. They left there in 1907, that lake was really built. You had to move the county seat out of, up on the hill, down on the White River, you know, when they built that. 20 years ago, or 30, something like that.
Now, did your father cut the logs, or did he just float them down?
He just pulled them down. He didn't cut them.
They had to have about 3 men, hadn't they?
All that or
They
more.
rode on them logs,
Yeah.
rode them down the river.
So they were mainly cedar logs.
Yeah. I think Joe done out, let's see, or Kirbyville.
I was in Missouri last fall for just a day or two, and I went to a cousin's house. First cousin. It was on my mother's side though. And he could tell the most interesting stories. I didn't have a tape recorder or anything to take it, but I remember. He said that one time he called in Uncle Bob, of course, but one time Uncle Bob had his raft tied to a tree so it wouldn't get away. And it got away.
They'd tie up at night and camp out, I think, at night.
All camp and do their own cooking and everything. Yeah.
I think it seemed like he said 3 days.
Yeah. It's about 3 days because there was lots of ins and outs to it. And he'd remember it because Papa lives in it, you know.
Yeah.
And he had this is just funny, it's not, but it is a recent story told. He had this log raft tied. And someone went and told him that it was loose. It floated down the river. He got on his horse and outrun it. Got it caught, put it in here, some kind of a little place there, gully or something where he could put it up here and retied it. And I said, well, what did he do then? He said he went and got him some men, took it on down the river. And I'll tell you, it's interesting to hear those old times stories. I'm going to go back to the very
As a child, what kind of chores did you do on the farm?
Well, I can tell you that. I started milking cows as soon as I could. And it was a big family. And I was next to the oldest. And I sure helped take care of the others. And I said, there's no philosopher who can tell me better how to manage children than my mother knew. Before we left there, I was talking back to her. Boy, I was going to have my say. I remember this wasn't everything. I was smart and all. She tried to reason with me, and I wouldn't reason. So she just took me outside, gave me a little switch on the leg, a keen switch, she called it. I told her I never would talk back to her again. It's just, she couldn't. And I never did want to. That took it out of me. What's that for? Oh. She went right in the house and cooked dinner and said, I heard her say it. I didn't know how she could cook dinner for us. She went ugly as I did. She did. And she said, just as much I expect y'all honest, just cook for me home. Well, her daddy was the old-time preacher, worked all week and preach on Saturday and Sunday.
What else you do on the farm?
Huh? All right, what else do I do on the farm? I milk cows. I know. And I know that it helped with all chores around the house. I burned my foot because I was trying to help cook.
Well, you worked in the field, didn't you?
Well, I'll know it. I'll bring that on up the field. I was thinking of Missouri. And I got out of a whipping one time because she told me when I said I helped with the other children. She told me to watch a child while she went to the spring to wash. All right? She went to spring to wash. This child, who was some 5 years younger than I, 4 or 5. Oh, no, she's a baby. She's not very, oh, no. I'm telling that wrong. About a year, maybe. While she was gone, the baby fell out the door and hurt herself. And I had a book reading it. I'd been to school here. And I never failed to mind that I ran. I didn't know what in the world I was going to do. She said, just as firm to me as she could, I would sure give you a good twitching if you weren't reading, but I like you learned to read. And I got out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But don't ever do it again. When I said you fall
Yeah.
off.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. The child wasn't hurt the mouth or anything. I didn't get it.
You help do the laundry?
Oh yes. I rubbed on the board. Tell you the truth, I don't know when it started. I started when I rubbed on the board and my hands were so small that she'd have my older sister and I, but she didn't do as much as I did because she wasn't as strong as I was. I'd have to slide them over here and she'd ring them. It's all particular about washing. And she'd ring them. I couldn't. Then we came to Oklahoma. We did that most of the time. Then we came to Oklahoma when I was 7.
How come your folks came to Oklahoma?
Well, for this reason, I can tell you that for sure. Yeah, I'm going to answer your questions now more definitely if you write them instead of take them off on that thing and then take them off when you get ready. That's what you're doing, isn't it? You don't have that thing on.
How come they came to Oklahoma?
Oh, you did? Get down.
Hmm?
All right. My mother decided. Papa had wanted to come for a long time, and she decided she didn't want to come. Our people all lived back there, and she's very fond of them. His did too. But he didn't hate to leave his family as bad as she did. So she had to thoroughly make up her mind before she'd tell him she'd come. When she made up her mind, she told him, and she told him why. She was afraid he'd get drowned or something would happen to him, and she couldn't keep him from going down the river. He was just a duck in the water. And so she wanted to leave for that reason, and because of the danger that he was in, and he wanted to come. So we came to Anadarko.
Do you remember the trip by wagon?
Oh, I certainly do.
Tell me about the trip.
All right. We came in one wagon. He drove mules. He made an overjet, what he called an overjet, and he built it on the bed of the wagon. So there'd be room for us to sleep. High spring seat up here. Somebody could even crawl under that. And that's what we came, and it took us 21 days to come.
What about crossing the rivers? Any trouble?
We forded the river. I remember well, he said he wouldn't drive anything but mules. He said they were tougher, they'd pull better for him, and they didn't take much feed. So he crossed the river, we did, and then he would unhook his mules and go back and get one family came with us. And they had 2 wagons, and they drove horses, and he'd have to help them across. And I know we did that. I remember some other things along the way. I was 7 years old, you see.
What's your favorite memory of the wagon trip? What's your best memory?
The best memory of it is this. The best memory I have of the wagon trip is that he would take time to let us get out and run around a while, play a while. So he's playing. I just look forward, he'll let us out. And we just run all around, he'd let us take exercise, and he'd hold the least one on his shoulder, and that's what I remember more than anything else was getting out of that wagon.
What's your worst memory of the trip?
The worst memory is this, that my mother was aggravated all the way, and never was before. It was too dirty to suit her. He did most of the cooking. And he cooked it on just an open fire. And he made, I wouldn't want to say my mother was aggravated, I wouldn't want that, anyhow. She wanted everything clean. You can't have everything clean when you go. And we didn't care how dirty we got. He turned us loose. I enjoyed my father more on the trip because he turned us loose, and then he'd do the cooking and cook these flapjacks, he called them, flick them up in the air and let them come down, and we just eat those like everything. Sort molasses maybe, and we had a good time. That's all we wanted. And other things, we had other things, we had a lot of not
There's two family of it.
two
Done
families.
Two ways.
Yeah.
And do you know, yeah, and you still remember, I saw an article on paper
Brown
about
was the other family.
Cal Brown.
Yeah, I remember.
Cal Brown
There you
came
go,
with it.
guys.
Well, that's good you thought of it. Cal Brown came with it.
They go to Anadarko also?
But they did. They did. But we
They all
went
settled down there and Common Ground is still there, ain't it?
the last one that lived there died, that I know of.
We're going to senior citizen lunch, and it's been nice to meet you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And then, oh,
Trail that you followed, or you just,
not especially.
you just
No.
head west? How'd y'all know where you were going?
Well, this way. My father knew Arkansas. He'd been to Oklahoma when he was a young man. He had sort of an adventurous spirit. When we left Grandma Pickett's, my mother's people, I remember that so well. They sang, "God be with you till we meet again." And I thought we were going way off, just like a child now would think they'd go and never come back. And we could drive back in a half a day after all this automobile thing. But then we were going a long way. And we went 3 miles west of Anadarko. The other people, Cal Brown, stopped in Anadarko. Actually had a son-in-law who lived in the grocery business. And somebody who lived there. Anyhow, we stopped, got a place to stay, and started picking cotton that fall. And I picked cotton. He mentioned that. That's the first job I had in Oklahoma.
How much did you pick in a day?
I got up to 100 pounds. And Papa wouldn't let me drag a sack. I had a tow sack, what do you call it? Gunny sack. I get that thrown into the, he weighed it. And I did get up to 100 pounds.
What was the price of cotton then? Was this 1907?
1907. It seems to me, and Lewis could tell you that too, it seems to me that it was not over 3 cents a pound. And he said he thought it went down to 1, but I think I know that it went down to 3.
Was the gin in Anadarko?
It was gin there, and if my father always said, if we got a third of a turnout, that meant 2/3 seats and 1/3 lint. And my father was a good farmer.
Who
And,
ran the gin in Anadarko?
well, I can tell you that thing. I know his name was Fitz. I think that people saying he was B.R. Fitz. He was Fitz, I know.
Who were the first people you met in Anadarko?
Well, I sure do believe it was Pruitt's, a man named Pruitt. Because they were related to the Browns. And I believe we met Mr. Pruitt, and he had his son Roy. And I know he was the son-in-law of the Browns, and I know we got acquainted with the Browns. We already knew them in Missouri, you see. And we knew them here, and as far as I know, it's the Pruitts. But the place where we stopped to live was named Andrews. I've got her picture.
Andrew.
I know that.
And it's 3 miles west of Anadarko?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's right there by the squares off schoolhouse. Little spot.
Somebody's gonna remind you of it, you probably haven't, he won't know about your background.
No.
And some of your background is where you taught Indian school.
Yeah.
Arizona and South Dakota.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, and another thing I want to ask you, Lewis, before you go. What was cotton worth when we came to Oklahoma? A pound?
What?
Cotton?
What's
I
the
said-
price of cotton?
Oh, I don't know, probably 4, 5, 6 grand.
That's right. I thought I remembered it's 3.
That's one reason y'all left Missouri, the land was so rough there.
Oh, that's one reason for it. When
Good
it's asking
land
about
down there in Darko, you know, good, good, rich land, so they
Yeah.
come down there and farm.
and he is tired of the rocks.
Yeah.
Right, the Tennessee Dam now is where he sold his place. He wanted to change, he wanted better farming. I want to take time to do it. This son-in-law has always been a friend of him. I don't know what in this son. And we try not to take no advantage of it. I can live with myself, but I just get along fine with them. And she's the only sister I have left. We've had a big family. And he treats me like a brother. He did the sisters who was gone. One of them came to visit. When I was with another sister, and I knew she was going to pass away, she kept talking to her sister. I said, why don't you say something to your brother-in-law? She just passed talking, didn't comment any all day. And she said, he's not my brother-in-law. Said, he's my brother. Another one said the same.
Do you remember Statehood Day?
I think I've got a picture, sure, but I remember that something about it.
November 16th, yeah.
Now, and that was November 16th,
Yeah,
1907. And I remember hearing something about it. We got here in September, but it was very little, if anything. Then I just soon started school over, I kept knowing more about it, and I remember definitely that Papa telling us that was Indian territory when we was coming through. It was. And this was Oklahoma.
Did you have to get permission to come through Indian Territory? Or
No, I don't think so. All you did then was take care of yourself.
Yeah. What was your first impression when you saw the Indians?
Well, Papa told us they were red people, they was racist. See, he talked with us quite a lot. You'd know that from my... And he said it's red, belong to red race. Well, I thought it was going to be red. To me, red was like that flower over there. And he told us we didn't need, and we had neighbors. Oh, he told us we didn't need to be this afraid of them. They wouldn't hurt us. And I wasn't afraid of them. They were peaceful. I've always found I like Indian people. If you get underneath the surface and find people, some of them crazy as can be. Just like any other.
When did you start to school?
I started school at Pleasant Hill.
Where's that?
That's near Forsyth.
Where?
Forsyth, Missouri.
Okay.
Pleasant Hill.
Pleasant Hill.
I know my first teacher's name. My first teacher was Mr. Mason.
What grade were you in when you came to Oklahoma?
I guess, well, I don't like to say this, but I do know this fact, but it sounds too much. I went 1 year, and I remember just about anything we had a chart class. He teaches on this chart from sounds and everything, pictures and everything like that. And then you go on the first grade, first reader. Say grade. First reader. You read it. You just had about one book to read. Then you get in the second and you read it. And I do know that he promoted me to third grade. But of course that wouldn't be today, go to school. It sounds like, no, that couldn't be right. But I know he did. And the first word that I stood up in the line to spell with other kids was paper. He made me say P-A-P, pape, E-R-R, paper. One more hard word I learned was turpentine. But he thought it's T-R-T, P-E-N. It's just little words. And that's why I say today we're getting away from the basics. We have too much of this paperwork and take it off on a machine and let them have it. They throw it at you and you don't have time to grade all of it.
So he taught, you said that he taught spelling by making big words into little words.
Oh, yes, yes. Oh, yes, yes.
How would you change the educational system today? What would you do if you could?
Well, first thing I do would, I've been asked that question, I've answered it before. I would definitely return to the basics.
What do you call the basics?
The basics is reading, writing, arithmetic. And all this other is necessary to fill in, but would have to be built around the basics. And then the phonic system would have to be used. They're getting back to it now. They've been teaching by see a word and learn that word, and here's a picture and here's a word. I don't like it. I'm not old-fashioned enough to believe just teach ABCs as they are. Teach sounds together. Teach your round letters and then teach your stick letters. And put them with some other word. And know that those 5 vowels have to come into every word. You can ask a child, tell me a word that doesn't have A-E-I-O-U. I won't let them try long, but you see, let's go back to the basics and teach the phonic system. And fill in with all the others. And see the children work. Good work habits. Good work habits. I've written a little article on that good work habits. I'll tell you what it is. Good work habits.
What was the name of the school at Anadarko you went to?
Well, I went to Anadarko High School. I went to Washington. To begin with.
Washington?
The one-room school.
Where is it located?
It's located about 3 miles north and 3 west. Let's see, 3 miles. It's 3 miles west, 2 or 3 north, 1 west. It's about 7 miles from Anadarko. And it was just a one-room school. The best teacher I ever had in my life was in the 8th grade.
What was the name?
Well, I started school somewhere else, Stockton School, Rural School. Then from Stockton went to Washington. The name was Mike Davis.
What was the name?
M-A-T-E, Mate.
Mike Davis.
Mike Davis.
How come that was your best teacher?
Well, because she was good in discipline. And we went back to the schoolhouse at night and worked. We worked all day. We went back at night and worked. The reason was that the 8th graders had to go somewhere else and take an 8th grade examination. And then some teachers taught after the 8th grade. I went to high school and all, but some of them just began to take a teacher's certificate, make pass exam, pass. Well, this was the reason. I just want to tell you one little story, and don't take it down on this. If you don't have time for this, then shut off. I looked around one day to see who was looking out, see who was passing the door, because my sister punched me, my older sister, and she was going with a young man. She married him. She wanted to know if he was passing the road hauling cotton. And she punched me to look. I looked. She said, "Study your lesson, Miss." And I had courage enough to do the same thing 3 or 4 days later. He said, "Study your lesson, keep them on the books. Keep your eyes on the books." I got my sister on and I said, "No, if you want to look, you do your own looking. I'm not looking anymore." And that took care of that. We weren't either one wanting to misbehave. But she wanted to know so bad. And I looked for her. And she was just good. And she gave me I don't know if she did for everybody, but she didn't have time to teach history. She had all 8th grade. She gave me a list, showed me in the book that I had a list of all the questions, main questions throughout the book. And if I'd look every one of them up, find the answers, she believed I'd pass. I looked at every one. I did pass. First examination, I was the only one that did pass. And then I look at a fellow, great big fellow that had walked by our house when we do everything. And he went, never missed a day. And I had to stay out 3 months to work. I just went 5 months. And yet I passed, he did. And I couldn't understand that then at all. I just couldn't understand it. And the thing of it was, I was just average while I learned that and teaching everywhere else. Never did think of anything. Maybe approach average, but it takes work. And kids now just won't hardly work.
Ever get a whipping in school?
Oh no. No, never. I was cold.
Yeah. What year did you graduate from high school?
I didn't graduate.
You did.
I don't have a high school diploma. Oh, should be that I just couldn't keep it telling you this. I don't care whether you take time to look at them or not. There's my BA. There's several teaching certificates. There's my master's degree. Dr. Dale, I usually kept his picture under here. Best teacher in college ever had.
Who's that?
Dr. Dale at the university.
E.E. Dale?
E.E. Dale. I've got a book he gave me. I've got 2 articles. No, he didn't give me that one. I'll give that and give you one. And these are just certificates I got along the way. And I got one, had to get one at Texas because I was out there. I just whatever I had to get, I got. And so when you said that, now I'm going to tell you one more story. I left the Indian service in 30. Going to school, getting my degree. I was then 30 years old and liked about, a good part of my college work. And I liked 2 years high school, at least 2 years college or more. And but I had teaching certificate all the time. I got an Indian service, you know. And I took them from the Indian service and had just as much right to good teachers as a public. Now I need some more training, so I just went and got some more. And but the thing of it was, went to Edmond, and first thing I found out, I had to take high school geometry, and I hadn't had it. Now I studied 2 subjects, took it for advanced standing, physical ed and agriculture. But I couldn't do that on geometry. I was in a class. And I ended the class 30 years old with about 25, 15, 16-year-old kids. And I sat there a week, and I was a week late. And that teacher's still there. And I said to her after class one day, I said, I don't know a thing or about what you're doing in here. She said, you don't? I said, I know I don't. She said, are you willing to learn it? I said, I have to. Why quit my job? I had 7 years and had quit to go on school. So she said, she said, would you be willing to go across town and have what's called practical teachers to help? And I said, I'll do anything you say. So I went across town. I had enough money then to have a little run out of money, had to work my boy and so forth. But that's neither here nor there. And I went across town. I paid attention to what that woman told me, and I wrote notes on it and everything. and I'd go back and study it. Came examination, and I made 100 on it. Well, I was taking some other subjects too. Well, it just unfolded to me when I began to learn the beginning. I lost out on all those propositions and what they're for and everything. I didn't know a thing. And I tried to figure out what to do. I had to have it. Necessity is the mother of invention. So I got that settled. But the second semester, I took the whole course in one summer. But the second time, I said, well, I've got to study my other subjects. I'm passing them too. I've taken some other subjects. So I started working harder on them, makeup, you know. And I did. Next time, I didn't study that stuff as hard. I didn't put all the time on it. And I just made 85 or something like that. It made my average over 90. And when that closed, this teacher did this, and bless her sweetheart, she lives at Edmond now. I saw her once. Still living. At least she's old time. She told me she's the youngest college professor over there. And she seemed to remember that. Well, it was so. When I got through with that high school course, well, she took me by the arm. She learned by then I was a bit sensitive. She said, I want to tell all of you about this woman. I know it's curiosity, though. Said, when she came in here, she told me she didn't know a thing about what we was doing. And she got to work on it. And I just want to prove to you what work will do if you're willing to work on anything. She wanted to have a lesson from me for them, which I didn't care one bit. But the thing I'll never forget, take to my grave, is this. She turned around to me and wouldn't let me hear. She said, I didn't know what she was going to do. I was so dumb, but she didn't know. And just admitted it. I taught schools, she was a teacher. She found out that I could work. And then, when come time for students to get their high school diploma, well, here's my name going up on the bulletin board. I had enough credits for high school diploma. They announced it. I said to her, I think I was in her room, I said, well, would I get this much credit if I don't take it? Oh, sure, I'll go on record. It's going to make a difference up to you. I said, what did it cost? But that time was right. She says, $2. I said, I don't take it. I didn't take it. Yeah. And when you said when did you finish high school, I didn't finish, but I finished all the credits. Mm-hmm. And then I went across and I talked to a woman who was went to college with me when I just first went to college and taught. And I told her, she corrected my thesis a lot. She said, Nezzie, that don't make a bit of difference. I don't even know where mine is right now. I couldn't tell you. She said, you're going on and get some more degrees. You say you are going to get your degrees, and I won't find a thing in the world. Well, I'll tell you, honest to goodness, I think it means something in this way. That maybe if I hadn't had to work so much, and it wasn't that my father was so strict on, no. And he'd help me any way he could. He used to sign every time I'd go to the bank and borrow money, you know, and then I'd pay it back, you know. That's all I could do is cease a year and pay it back and help the family a little. And then I decided, well, I wish I could borrow money on my own. Somebody wouldn't always have to sign. Now, that wasn't a thing against my father. But see where he taught me this lesson? I had an appointment for the Indian Service in 23. And I went into the bank and asked for them. And it questioned me a little bit. And they wanted to. And I thought, how am I going to tell my father? He never has been rude to me. He's been sweet as he can be about signing this. And he's here in town. I could have had him, but I'm going to have to tell him the truth. He taught us that too. My opinion on her part too. And I told him, I said, well, I did something Dad didn't want him to do. What did he do? I just went back to boys' room. Boy, said, I'm so glad you could. You see, parents can just either kill or help, and this was such a little effort. And I think I got some of that old-time training. Another time I was 13 years old, and a man said to Papa, I'd like to have her sled my corn. He'd watched me, and I think it's the only year that I remember Papa ever worked for someone else. And he had about 300 acres to take care of. That is Roy Pruitt family, that's the first ones we saw out here. And, well, Papa says she can if she wants to. Well, of course, my goodness sakes alive, I wanted to. He'd seen me handle a team. So I sled his corn for 30 days.
Now, what did you do?
Sledded corn.
What's
Use
that?
a team. Use a team. And you've got a sled, and it has about 3 discs on each side, and it throws the dirt to the cart. If you get to it in time, it covers up all the weeds and grass. You don't have so much horn to do. We never did have a lot of horn to do. So he planned about the way he wanted it, and we had tended a little, but we didn't have much weeds to do. In the garden he put his garden on the end of and the color they did is he's going down the corn row. After you finish corn row, you'd be something else. But anyhow, that's what you do. You use 2 horses and have a sled. You ride on it. Here it is. Throw that dirt in. And if you had it listed, you see, you have a ridge there that throws the dirt to it. Well, I worked 30 days, and I got $30. I thought that would be the thing. Well, I never did think it smart, except that one time, just smarter than some other. And what made me think that was the man said he'd rather have me than a boy. He'd rather have me than a boy. So I thought that's really smart. And so it just 1 or 2 experiences along like that just taught me a lesson as ago. Which I'm trying to say is this: that boys and girls who have some discipline and taught the right thing. Mother always taught us, and we went to church, and we go and pay. Didn't always go, we lived out, so couldn't go. But anyhow, do it near rising on us. When I went to Arizona, my father didn't want me to go. Way out there in the wilds, you know, but he wouldn't talk at me about it. And Mama just said one thing that took me all the way through.
What's that?
I think she's old enough to take care of herself. And he knew more what I was going to meet up with. I got out there and I never met but one man who was a real rascal. Just a rascal, that's all he was. I still know his name. I know the first thing he said to me, I said, "Would the good Lord help me to understand what he was thinking, doing, and the principal things of white thing," and said, tell Miss Leathers to watch him. His first smart remark was, "That's a pretty blouse you have on. That's a pretty good sized girl, you know, bigger than I know. I like it." But he could say you look nice. I like that. That's some sense. And then he come and rap on my door. I let him in. "Do you play cards?" "No, I don't play." Try getting in his car. I don't get in his car. And that sort of thing. Just when I left, he told the field matron, he said, "That's the crossest young lady I ever saw in my life." Well, I didn't mean he never saw, and he had a field. See, that's pitiful. And that taught me, you take care of yourself. Well, I knew it, not going to. He could just take it or leave it. What now?
What do you remember about World War I?
World War I?
1917, 1918.
I sure do remember that well. Something. This. Outstanding. There's a certain young man, I sure did kind of like him. I just saw him a time or two, went with him a time or two. It's his time to go, and there was 3 brothers that went. They were the bellboys. somehow this Miss Bell kind of liked me. I stayed with her later when I taught school there. And I was with her and saw her 3 sons go. And I don't know whether she suspicioned or not. She never did say anything to me that I liked one of them. I think he kind of liked me. He paid some attention to me. And supplies, because they were going to be scarce of them. But when the other people couldn't get it, we ate meal instead of flour. But he would buy all they would permit him to buy. And then when we couldn't, well, he would say, well, now other people are doing this, we have to do it too, and we're doing this because they need it over there. And I know we economized.
So that was more or less rationing during the war.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, you couldn't buy it. They did this, I guess, just let you have so much.
How did you get your first job at Riverside in 22?
Riverside Indian School, I can tell you. There was a man there named Diaz, W.T. Diaz. And he became acquainted with my father. I seemed to me like it was over some cattle or something. I don't know. But anyhow, I met him through my father. And we didn't live very far from the school. And then he became interested in me somehow getting a job. He knew I had training for a teacher. I guess probably. Anyhow, he saw me, and he asked me to come down to school as a temporary teacher. And it's on that old record there. I taught 18 days under Diaz. And then a regular teacher came, and I was out of a job. That's what kind of introduced me to the Indian service.
What kind of man was Diaz?
What?
What kind of man was Diaz?
Diaz was this kind. He was in size about average, all of average or above. And he was extremely kind. When I was in a rural school at Gary, before I got in Indian service, or went after. Well, he came out there. Oh, he was visiting around anyway. Day school inspector for the Indians that time. That's what we called him. And he came out there and visited that little school and had me go to his home. His wife invited me, and I stayed one night in his home. Anyhow, he was kind of, Diaz was an average-sized man, or above, had a nice wife, and was very interested in the type of people who needed him. I remember him well. And then after that was in 22. Then I applied for the Indian service. I guess he gave me encouragement to do it. And next year, in February, on February 1, I went to Arizona.
What part of Arizona?
I went to Arabia, Arizona, under the Whole Book Agency. Does that chime with that?
Yeah.
And that's what I like to do when I get anything. I just want down just the facts. And I might slip my mind, and I might be confused about something. I like to check it out. Of course, we've trained that way in the Indian service all the time. It had to be good. One time I had nerve enough to speak back to the principal. He seemed to explain something to me he wanted done, and I couldn't seem to get the drift of it, and I tried. I guess I was kind of exasperated. I said to him, if you'll just give that paper to me, I'll figure it out and do it. He gave it to me. I didn't mean to be smart, because he knew I did.
Can you give me a Oh, go ahead. I'm
Oh,
sorry. Can you give me the history of Riverside?
well, I've got it printed, and I'll give it to you. I can't just think right off. There were 6 students.
Did you know any of the old timers at Riverside?
I knew some of them. And I have that history of Riverside. I think I know what book it's in. It's in that first book of 48.
What's the oldest photographs you have of Riverside? Are these the oldest here? You
That's
have?
the oldest one. Goodness sakes, that's the oldest. Let me show you here.
How come you returned to Riverside from Arizona?
Because my people all live here. This was home. Oklahoma was my home. I went away twice.
So you got a job, the full-time job then in 24?
23.
No. And that's in Arizona, isn't it? 23?
Yeah, I went 23.
Yeah.
I remember that also. I said, I've forgotten the law, but I can still learn to live.
Who are some of your most interesting students?
Interesting one.
Students. Who are your best
Oh.
students?
I'll tell you right off some of them. Bobby Cannon.
Bobby Cannon?
And I have his picture somewhere. Bobby Cannon. And the last, let's see. Well, I'd like to tell you a little story about him. But rolling off the writer herself.
Okay.
There you go. I think this is worthwhile. Because I feel so humble about it. Bobby didn't have anyone singing it. He came to Riverside, spent a number of years there, and I was there, and he was in my college. And he didn't give us any trouble. One time in school he disturbed. I had to go down to another class to teach world history, and he was in it. And everything's going all right. I could see him over in this corner. I couldn't get his eye. I knew if I'd ever get his eye, he'd know what I meant to better behave yourself. But I couldn't get his eye. He wouldn't let me. Don't be smart that day. He wasn't doing anything. I'm not paying attention. Maybe attention to somebody pulling my hair or something. So I got enough of it. When I did, I went back and I just slammed down my hand as hard as I could on his desk. I want you to pay attention or something like it. Oh. There was a man back here, Mr. Winston, is his room. After class, he said, Miss Leathers, I didn't hear a thing in here until I heard you. He said I wasn't paying good attention, trying to hear anything. And he didn't know what I banged at. Anyhow, he said, do you mind if I speak to Bobby? A very calm man. I said, I don't mind a bit. I said, maybe you can help him. So I go on out of the room. He walks me out. Bobby goes by his desk, has to get out of the room. And when he does, he says, what in the world did Miss Leathers do to you? He said she didn't do a thing. He comes on up to my room and I'm back at my desk. He puts his hand on it right here. On it, and looking right at me. He said, Mr. Winston said something to me. Oh, I said he did. I didn't even know if he'd said anything to me. I said he did. Yeah, he did. And then he said to me this. He looked at me. He said, now, I guess it's just this way. But every so often you have to get after me, and then I'll be all right for a while. Grown up telling me. Played football a lot. Oh, so I just stopped it. Now, that's all. Once the first time Winston saw it, he's a good friend of mine. He said, well, I'm going to tell you the truth, Miss Leathers. He said, I just didn't get anywhere with it. He said, you didn't do anything here. I said, I didn't. Then the rascal, I saw him downtown. No, then the next experience I had with him, he graduated, and I sponsored his grad. His picture there. And the last thing he wrote to me, but I'll get his picture and I have it with me, he said, I'll try not to do the wrong thing and always do the right thing. Kind of thing. But anyhow, when school closed, Mr. Dean, I didn't blame Mr. Dean a bit, I liked him. He says, have the graduates take all their things with them. He said, you know how it'll be, they'll come back here wanting something, get all mixed up, and then we won't have them and everything. You take them all with them now when they graduate. Well, he hadn't any more than said that, but Bobby comes to me and he said, Mr. Leathers, I'd like to leave my things here a while. He said, well, I said, now, Bobby, you know what Mr. Dean said. Take care of it. I know that he said it. But he said, I don't have anywhere to take them to. Well, I said, well, I used to be in Discover Road. That's the one I wrote and worked for the one. I told the college mother that. I don't have to see anything. So, I thought, what am I going to do? He told me not to do it. So I said, I'll tell you about what you do. You get all your things together. You just have no book or suitcase and box, maybe. I said, you bring them to me. And I said, I'm paying rent on my quarters. And I'll let you put them over in the corner in my bedroom. I had 2 rooms. I'll let you put them over there because you come in. And so he appreciated it very much. And I said, now I want the cottage mother. He said, no, because she has a key to my quarters. And she can let you in if you happen to come and I'm not here. So I told her what I did. She said, well, it's a good thing you did, because she said, if you hadn't, I would. And she just had 1 room. If you hadn't, I would. So that took care of that. Then I didn't see the rascal anymore until downtown one day. He had a card, and he's going around like he's looking for something. And I spied him just to put a plumb, and I think he did me, but he wouldn't look at it. And I said, they didn't get by with that, or why? Because they didn't enjoy talking. They've always been nice about talking to him. He knows good English. So I didn't do a thing but wheel my basket around over here. How about it? And this fellow's like being talked to. And I didn't let nobody hear me. I said, why can't you talk? He said, well, it's this way. I go down there where the rest of them is. He said, they're all drinking, so I just drink too. He said, you see, I broke my arm. Got in a sling. I broke it. But he said, I'll tell you one thing. That I'm going on to college and I'll get my degree and I'll come see you. Of course, if that's me doing a walk off. I said, well, it's just up to you. I walked off there. Lo and behold, he got his degree. But he didn't wait till he got his degree. He's all dressed up on wrapped by the door, and here he is. Look at it, Bobby. This is nice looking house. Clean. My top with it, this is one, And then I had a little house after that when they took the teacher out of the college. I stayed in the college 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
I lived right there with the kids. Now that was work. Teach all day and then go over in the evening and take duty. That would be fun. But Bobby married, and Mr. Piles asked me, he said, did you know who Bobby married? I said, no, I don't know at all. He said, well, he married a social service worker over at the agency. He just thrilled to death that he had married that woman, and she's a good woman, just a good girl. So, one day out there at my house, and there rap on the door, it's Bobby. He said, well, I think it's time to see it, come see you again. I'd like you to meet my wife, and this is my little boy.
What's he doing now?
Well, he worked in the Antarctica schools. He was coaching for a while, and then he went down to law. And I don't know just what he's doing, but he has a good job, and he got his degree. And so I'm real proud of Bobby. And the last time I heard from him, he was gone. But I wouldn't say between reasons. I can give you some other names. But Bobby was just unusual to me because of the fact that I like to see I can't stand to see a person grow up, try to throw it back on the folks for what they haven't done. And you see that a lot. I didn't have a chance.
What was it like teaching at Riverside? Can you just give me an overall?
Yeah, I can do that. The students were rather quiet. You had to probe to know just where they were. For an example, the best student in the class sits back here and never says a word, hardly. They're slow to respond. I've got some pictures of the class there. But when it came test time, he was at the head of the class. You never know exactly what he's absorbing, or what kind of an idea he's getting of people. Now, he won't be mistaken usually. He's slow to speak. He's a deep thinker. I had another boy, Joe Exendine, along the same manner, worked, but he'd speak right out. He has his doctorate degree. I went down there they had those party for him. And I went, I had an invitation. But he didn't get in that night, so I didn't get to see him. And he gave the commencement address at Riverside. Came back to the school where he graduated and gave the commencement address. I didn't get here. I had to be on this with that. Joe Exendine should be before Bobby, I guess, but Joe Exendine. He is very outstanding, scholastically, otherwise. And then Miles Stevenson.
Miles Stevenson.
I'd like to give you one or two girls' names, and their pictures right there. Bernice Paddleton.
Bernice.
Bernice. Paddleton. P-A-D-D. P-A-D-D. Paddleton. Paddleton. Tilden, I guess. Paddleton. And that girl would take so much responsibility when I left that cottage. She'd go right ahead and tell every one of those girls what to do and everything else. Take responsibility.
Yeah. How did Riverside change over the years while you were there? How did the school change?
In this way. It became there's one of the girls' name that's the head of the home ec department there at Riverside now. And her name's Mabel Ruth Whitefox. And she's head of the home ec department at Riverside. That was the last time I heard. Mabel Ruth Whitefox. Now who she married, I don't know. But that's enough for outstanding students. And now for
But between 22 and 63, how many changes? How did it change?
how to change this way. The students were much more responsive. Communicate, maybe that's the word you use now. Oh, I'd like you to mind telling me. I told her she'd over here been.
Yeah, how Riverside has changed.
All right. Well, in the first place, I'd say they have become more involved in outside activities with public schools and with going places and all. We've had experience with associating with the public schools. I think that has caused them to be more, uh, communicate better. And therefore they're more responsive in every respect of the word. They're not the old-time Indian anymore. They are adjusting to the environment outside just the Indian influence. I don't know how to put that in words off the here, but
Who were, you say that Mr. Pyle
yes.
was the best principal?
Yeah, but I don't like it. I don't like it all to be put in print or said. I would like to say that, you see, I got along with every principal. I don't feel justified. I would like to say that we had good principals at Riverside, efficient principals. They were too. They were on their toes. Did you know Smitty Williams? No.
I don't think so.
Oh, he's an Indian. He was coach. He died not too long ago. He was one of my students, but he was a student in 26 before then. He came out there and boarded at Barnes, and I said, do you know, were you in my class in 26? Or whenever it was? He said, I sure was. He said, I'll never forget. He was a little four-headed boy among the others. I got an award for this. That might not be anything. I don't want to brag on myself in it. But I took over that library, and after I left Riverside, I had a letter from Mr. Pyle. I thought maybe I could tell that to his credit, and he called me back for a $200 award, and he was the principal when I left. And I'd just like to say that all of them were good principals, and that Mr. Powell had to be there when I left the school. There he is again. I can truly say that I like all the principals. She liked all the principals. I don't care where you put that, but Mr. Powell was there when she left. And he called her back for an award. And I don't like to say he's the best. And he's not the best because he gave me an award, no.
What tribal groups make up the students mainly at Riverside?
Kiowa.
Kiowa.
Farmer.
Did you teach the tribe their own history?
No, nothing to do with that.
You didn't do any?
No.
Did you have any, did they dress up in their native costumes? In the native
Just,
dress?
and I have a picture in there of it, just when there was a program for their own heritage, they put on a war bonnet. I borrowed one of them because I had a nephew up here in the Indian program, and I borrowed his costume because he represented me. They put on their original costumes.
Was there any reason why the tribal history wasn't taught to the kids, or?
It was a custom that they not even use their language there.
How come?
Well, for this reason. They were sent there to learn English. They already knew their Indian language, and the parents and grandparents wanted them to learn English. And that was the purpose of the whole thing.
How many students were at Riverside in 22 when you first taught there?
Well, I would say approximately. Now, we didn't have high school right there. I believe the 6th grade was the highest grade. I don't know how many teachers we had. Miss Pollock was a primary teacher. Mrs. Allison was the third grade teacher. Sheila Knocker was another teacher. Miss Robb. There's 4 teachers, I think.
And how many students?
And students, and I had the 4th, 5th, and 6th grades. I don't know when those other grades came in, but anyhow, there was about 4 teachers, and I had the highest grades. I know that. And how many students? There'd be about, and they didn't change to go to another room. We didn't have any cottage. They had a boys' building and a girls' building. And we weren't overcrowded. I'd say, I don't believe there could have been over 100.
How many students are there now?
Well, there's, and I had an article in the paper on that. I wouldn't tell if you remember that, it was way back. Now, we used to have about 250, but they kept coming. They had the Navajos come in there, you see. There's a lot of Navajos there, and at the last, when I was there, they had about as many Navajos as they did any other. But the leading tribe around Endorf was the Kiowa.
Now, does the church have a religious affiliation?
Yes, I know exactly where. We had to go, we had to be Sunday school.
Which religion was?
Well, it
the
was
same thing?
awful sure it was Baptist. That they had the school there, Baptist and Catholic mostly. But I think the Catholics had a bus that came for them, because their mission was over here, not a little ways from Andarka.
What about World War II? Were there any activities to support the war effort at the school?
I don't know, but this one, when you said this Baptist, I said it. That man's name was Wilkinson. Now let me see. Bessie knows him better than I would, because she was that's her age in school. No, it didn't sound this right. No sound this right. It was Wilkinson. I believe it was Wilkinson, though, but anyhow, I wouldn't say for sure. And then your next question was,
Was there any organized support for the war effort in World War II at Riverside?
now from World War II, was that 41? Wasn't
Yeah,
it? All right, I was in South Dakota.
South Dakota.
I was there from 40 to 44. And that was, I think that was when I came.
Were you at Riverside during the Depression in the 30s?
In the 30s, no, that's when I didn't have any better sense in going to school. I resigned my position in 30. That Depression was just starting.
Yeah.
The worst of it was 30 and 32.
How did that Depression affect you?
Well, this way. That I given up my job. I withdrew what I had in the savings, in the retirement fund, $455. I spent it, what little I'd saved, and run out of money.
Where were you going to school?
I was going to school in Edmond, and I had to stay. And my folks was kind of having a hard time too. All of us were. All of us were. So, and I've always been glad that I went. I did what I did. Nobody else did it worse off. I am still there. So I know something about the Depression. I know that. When I ran out of money, I thought, well, what am I going to do? I'm going to stay here. Then this sister here came up and helped me out. I'll never forget it. We stayed in the home, for quite a while, a year ago, where the woman hired her to take care of her father and help me to cook. That's where she met you.
The old original buildings left at Riverside.
The only one I know, and I was down there. That's the picture Miss Hanger. She should be missing Indian service. Mention her. She was my supervisor.
Yeah.
And she is now lives up on the hill there from just over to Mount Darkle. She knows lots of history. She knows the whole story better than I did. She said that she told me, she said, you understand me better than anyone.
Yeah.
And one day I commended another teacher, and she said, now Miss Leathers, you mentioned it, I'm going to tell you how it is, but I never thought a thing on to commend the other teachers to put on such a good program. I just make mention it to put on such a wonderful program. And she said, now you're the one mentioning Miss Leathers, I'm going to tell you how it is. She said, she reaches the upper crust and the better students, and you couldn't put on a program like that. I said, I know I couldn't. She said, but I will tell you this. And someone said, didn't that hurt you? I said, no, it helped me. She said that now you reach the average and the below, and you reach more students. Well, I took that as a compliment. I thought, well, I think I'll approach average. This fellow was a good artist, but he went the wrong direction.
Lead
Down
to
the
the-
rest home.
Yeah.
It'd have been outstanding.
Is he the son of Monroe Tuttle?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah.
And he had a brother, Ross.
This says the girls' building and the boys' building. Are they still there?
The boys' building might be. I know the girls isn't. I doubt it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm trying to think whether the all new cottages, I think they have the boys' building. They did have. It's a possibility. Now, the laundry might be there, and the
Yeah, that was in the 30s, the Depression.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that you have to work hard for what you do. You have to earn. You have to earn. And I feel good that I had to do that. It never made me a bit sorry that I resigned the job.
It taught you the value of the dollar.
Yeah, because I was determined to do something. And I realized that it wasn't going to be easy. I went into it that way. It made me realize, not that I didn't fully understand, we'd always had a pretty good living, on the farm. Had a lot more than I thought we had, And it worked for us, but we were happy. And it made me realize when you get out, you run out of money, that there's still a way to get by.
Yeah.
Earn your way, earn it. Like I say, we worked in this home. I cooked, cleaned, anything else. We don't wait on people or anything.
Well, you were in Edmond then.
I was mad. When I went to Norman, about the same thing happened, but I still wanted to go on, and I did. Didn't expect any help from anybody, but then we was all going through a hard time. We didn't know nobody on the station. Why did nobody's having this? Well, so what? Work for it. If there's any lesson that I would teach young people is to earn your living with a sweat of the brow all over, mentally or physically. Don't be afraid of work.
When did you go to South Dakota?
I went to Winslow, South Dakota in October of 40. No. Winslow, Arizona. I'm getting. I'll tell you when I went there. It's February the 1st, 1923. Winslow, Arizona. And Holbrook was the agency. And the man that took me out from Holbrook to Kings Canyon was the head of they call it Moki Reservation. It's really Hopi. I wrote my thesis on the Hopis, Dr. Dale. And the driver, he's loaded with a truckload of stuff, and I just riding with him. He said, "Now I'll be taking you back right away." Well, I said, "I don't think so. I want to stay here to get transferred over home." "Oh, no," he said, "you don't know what you're talking about." I said, "I'll take you to Miniback. I know."
How big was the school in Arizona?
Huh. There was 2 teachers. And we had about, I would say, I don't believe we had, I know we didn't have over 40 in the entire school. That's an article on Mrs. Gray, a wonderful person in the Indian Service. She's home ec department, and then she went to Lawrence, Kansas. And that isn't, I had this experience with that. I went into the library, some school, I couldn't even tell you the school, and they had a whole stack of books here. And I said, "What are you going to do with these?" They said, "We're going to, they're discharged, they're not in use any longer. Do you want any of them?" "Oh, I'll take them." And I took them all. And I'm just giving them away. I don't clean them up either, give them away. Right? It's a story of the state, and Dr. Dale wrote it.
Yeah.
Of course, I was crazy about Dr. Dale as a teacher, but I wanted the books.
Now, when did you go to South Dakota?
South Dakota, I went in October 1940. I know that guy.
What part of South Dakota?
I went on the Sioux Reservation.
Near Rosebud?
Well, that's an agency there. That's right. And the first place I went to was Wounded Knee. And I can sure tell some stories about that.
What was Wounded Knee like?
Wounded Knee was a little place. The school building was halfway under the ground. I taught in that room. My quarters, I got to wondering how big my quarters were. They were 7.5 by 12. To eat, cook, sleep, clothes, everything. Everything, 7.5 by 12. Only didn't have any convenience, whatever. The principal and his wife, he had the upper grades, I had grades 1 to 4. He built me a little, at the head of my bed, where I could put my clothes in on me. At the head of the bed, I pulled my bed down a little to get my clothes up there. He made me a table that dropped down. I had a little burner stove, a bigger stove over here. And just a matter of putting me things in, having a pathway to bed. That's ready, 7.5 by 12. Bedroom, living room, everything. No utilities. Had outside toilet. And that was South Dakota. And the principal told me a story when I first got there. He said, "Now, I want to tell you, there's a certain woman who jumps on to every teacher. And she'll be here to jump on to you." And she had a pair of scissors. Always carried them. Whatever I would do. So, school went on for one, and they had a sewing room over here for the one room. Later they built an auditorium down there. Well, anyhow, be that. Anyhow, this one woman never called me. Look at that, don't bother me again, one more day. That may have been something else wrong here.
No, go ahead.
Well, anyhow, this one woman came over real quick one day, wanted to know what I did to her daughter. No, and I couldn't make her understand. I had another woman in the back here that the principal told me I could have her if I wanted her to work for me. Well, I found a painting set and she started to work for me. And this other woman comes in asking what I did to her daughter. And she don't even want to get that said until she says it in a way that I understand it. She had a daughter, Bertie, and she'd gone over and told her something. And this woman who's working for me knows some English and Sioux too. So she started talking to her as hard as she can talk. Just as hard as she can talk. I'd kind of walk back to my desk and I'd keep my back to her. I thought, well, she might have a little scissors, but anyhow, when this woman just kept telling her something, and Sue and I couldn't get a word in. I don't try to. So when this woman comes up and she makes her daughter stand by her, and they just talk Sue to beat anything you ever heard. The woman does, makes this girl keep still. And then she walks out. I don't know anything about her, but I'm warning you one right there. So this woman never says a word and speaks English until they're gone. School's out. And I said, Miss Leathers, I have to tell you how this is. Said when she started to jump onto you, I told her just how bad she had acted and that you didn't do a thing to her. I told her, sit down over here, I think. You didn't do anything to her daughter. And she's telling you stories. And she's been telling you stories. Oh, she just got her told. And then she told me this. And she said, I just couldn't stand it when she started getting there. So that took care of that. That soul came to see me every day that I was there. Mother was going to jump onto me. She sits over here and smokes, and here I've got a fire down there, and I have to cook the kids breakfast, and I always give her something too. And she was Mrs. Pretty Bird. Yeah. And I never did forget that. You just have experiences you can call you.
What is your brother-in-law's name?
Louis McDuck.
That's one that was here.
That's the only one I have.
Okay.
He's been the only man in the family for years.
Yeah. Well, I think we have a good interview.
And what?
I think we have a good interview.
Well, I don't know. I know this. I'll feel like I talk too much.
I don't think so.
You didn't have time for these stories in between. Now, what I want to do, before you go, if you have any direct question, I'll answer it. To the best of my ability.
Well,
I think I led you off by talking incidental. I didn't mean to. Is the influx of Navajos at Riverside.
Yeah.
Now, they didn't come at the beginning. And now I understand that they have schools built in Arizona and Mexico to take care of it on their own, which is what it should be. Another thing is that Concho is closed down, and you probably know. Those students are going to come to Riverside.
Was Riverside built for the Kiowas?
Mostly.
Yeah.
And somewhere here I have all that history. But with this short time, this is what I get together, and I thought, well, I better go ahead and let this man come. It'll be on my mind I'll have to do this. And I wanted to do it, and I haven't covered it. I couldn't cover all in the Indian subjects, just skip here and there. That latest on that. Now, there are a few people around Anadarko. Tommy P. Hanger is the one that knows more about the Indian Service. Tommy P. Hanger.
Oh, I was going to ask, what
and
is
her
the...
address is 131 Anadarko.
131 Anadarko.
She might not be able to. She's had a broken hip, but she's back home and she's got a good
I was going to ask the professor's name in Edmond that you talked about that's still living. What's her name?
Oh, I can tell you. It's in the book, too. Dorothy, D-O-R, I think she spelled it. She said, you know how to spell my name? I said, I believe I do. I think it's Dorothea.
Dorothea.
And no, the last name,
Dorothy.
yeah, we always call her Dorothy, but anyhow, she says that's the way it's spelled. And her last name is Mayer, and it's spelled M-E-A-G-H-E-R.
M-E-G-H-E-R.
No, M-E-A-G-H-E-R.
M-E-A-G-H-E-R.
G-H-E-R.